Veronica presents Part 11 of the AI Repertory Theater's production of Lorene on the Lam by Marie Elena Zuniga. The hearse had a flat tire just outside of Red Boiling Springs, and who should show up to help? No other than her old boyfriend, Ace Stewart, and the police. Chapter 51. Ace kept staring at Lorene, like she was an alien from another planet. Lorene glanced over at her passengers. Tilly was staring at her from the driver's seat, her eyes wide and frightened, mouthing, "Police! Police!" like Lorene hadn't figured it out.
Never reckoned I'd see you again, Ace, or in this circumstance. But I'm in a tight spot. I need to get out of here, fast.
You're on the lam, ain't you, Lorene?
She nodded and tried to explain as quickly as she could that her mama was dying and she needed to get home.
I heard your mama was doing poorly. Seems like she ain't got long, so I can see where you'd want to bust out of jail to get to her.
Ace nodded toward the hearse.
Who are those people? And what are y'all doing in a hearse?
I'll tell you later. Look, Ace, I'm in a real jam here. Can you take me home to my mama's? Come on, Ace. Please, hurry it up here.
Ace looked down at his feet, shuffling them, as if he had all the time in the world. Lorene's insides flip-flopped as the siren grew louder.
Gosh darn it, Lorene. You always was trouble. All right, then. Come on.
Lorene let out a long sigh and smiled.
Much obliged, Ace, but we gotta move fast now.
What about them?
Ace asked, looking over at the hearse.
I only got room for you and one other person in the front seat. Back of my truck is filled with bags of seed and grain.
All right, then. I'm taking Splat. He's my insurance. Rest of them gotta stay. I'll let the police deal with them.
Tilly overheard and got out of the hearse, hands on hips.
Now just a gosh darned minute, Lorene. We come this far, and you ain't dumping us on the side of the road like this to be harassed by the police. Besides, how do I know it ain't my stupid husband come chasing after me? And what about this nun here? She ain't done nothing wrong. This feller has to fit us in his truck.
Lorene didn't have time to argue.
We part ways here, Tilly. Besides, you and the nun there will be stalling the police until I get home.
Tilly folded her arms against her chest and let out an exasperated grunt. The nun was quiet from the front passenger seat, probably praying. Lorene walked over to Splat, pulling the gun from her jeans pocket. She pointed it at him, ordering him to the truck. Ace saw the gun.
Now wait a minute, Lorene. I believe in the right to bear arms as much as the rest of us folks in these parts, but I can't let you kidnap this man.
He's a thief, Ace, also wanted by the police. Was gonna kill Josh Montgomery, but ended up with us instead. He's gotta come with us.
Ace let out a long whistle.
All right then, but I'm dumping you both at your mama's. After that, my hands are clean.
As much as she wanted to blame Ace, she couldn't. He had every right to want to be rid of her and Splat.
Wait!
Tilly screamed, rushing to Lorene. She threw her arms around her, squeezing her so tight Lorene could barely breathe. Tilly started sobbing.
What am I gonna do without you?
She said, sniffling. Lorene felt a surge of something in her heart and pushed Tilly away. Emotions weren't her thing, and she didn't have time for this right now. She tried to use her best preacher voice, like her grandpa, but the words came out cracked.
Let me go, Tilly. God'll take care of you. You'll be okay.
With that, Lorene pulled herself away from her embrace.
I'm gonna miss you something terrible,
Tilly said, sobbing.
Me too,
Lorene whispered under her breath so Tilly couldn't hear. Then she, Ace, and Splat drove off, the sound of sirens bouncing behind them through the Tennessee hills. Chapter 52. Splat sat between them, straddled over the stick shift. Lorene had the gun pointed at his side as they drove along the winding roads. Ace finally looked past Splat to Lorene and spoke.
What in tarnation is going on, Lorene? I never figured you'd end up like this.
Neither did she. But life had a funny way of taking you places you never expected. Some good, some not so good. She really didn't want to think about how much her own choices had accounted for that, because Carmela would have told her that her choices had everything to do with where she was right now. Bullshit. Sometimes bad things just happened.
You don't know the half of it, mister.
Splat interrupted.
Lorene here stole Josh Montgomery's tour bus. Now ain't that just pretty?
Ace grinned, hitting the palm of his hand against the steering wheel, like he had just won the lottery.
Hot damn, that was you, Lorene? I heard that on the news. You took his bus? Darn, I should have got the connection. They did say it was stolen from an auto repair shop near a prison in Houston. Where is it? And why was you in a hearse?
Lorene didn't have the energy or time to explain to Ace all their wanderings over the countryside. She was too close to her mama's house and just wanted to get there.
Don't listen to that sumbitch, Ace. He don't have nothing to be proud of hisself. He was posing as a deaf and mute Bible salesman who steals from poor folks. And he was gonna kill Montgomery.
Ace shook his head, and Lorene recognized the expression on his face. It was the one she used to call the "why did I do something dumb and get mixed up with Lorene" look. Only this time, he hadn't done anything dumb, except for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. It was good timing for her, though, and that's all that mattered right now. His face had changed some over the years. More handsome, with something in it that Lorene couldn't pinpoint. Something around the eyes and corners of the mouth. Life had had its way with him somehow, and she wasn't sure what it had been. His expression shifted to concern as he looked in the rearview mirror. Lorene followed his gaze and turned behind her to see the blinking blue lights of a police car.
Looks like I'm in pig shit. We all are,
Ace said.
I'll end up in jail for sure. Wait, I have an idea.
With a quick jerk to the right, he pulled the truck off onto an unpaved side road. They bumped along, the tires crunching against the rutted dirt lane, thick trees and bushes crushing them in on both sides, the path narrowing and finally ending.
Where the Sam Hill are we, Ace?
Don't you recall? We're not far from Indian Cave. It'll be a good place to hide until the police go away. Then I'll take you home.
Indian Cave. She had forgotten all about it. That's where she and Ace were heading that summer day when a storm caught them by surprise. Most kids in these parts used it as a makeout place. Quiet, dark, lots of tunnels. It was also near the place her grandpa Mac had disappeared and was never found. They said he had jumped to his death at the nearby bluff, his body dragged away and eaten by bobcats or other critters. But Lorene never believed it. Those were some dark days after his death for her and her mama. They both cried a lot. Lorene tried her best to comfort her ma, who said that Mac had been the best thing that had ever happened to them, despite his good-for-nothing son. That's when Lorene started asking questions about her pa, but her mama had clammed up.
No account,
Was all she said.
Leave it at that.
Lorene never asked again. As time passed, she reckoned she had turned out more like her pa than her saintly grandpa. Right now, this cave, so near where he died, wasn't where she wanted to be, but she had no other choice. The police wouldn't find them here. Ace drove the truck into some bushes, partially hiding it. He grabbed a flashlight from the glove compartment, and the three trudged through thick brambles and thickets up the steep hill until they reached the open mouth of the cave. A blast of cool air hit Lorene's face. She waved the gun at Splat.
Inside, we're gonna sit a spell. No funny business.
Ace threw Lorene a strange look and muttered.
See, you're still bossy.
Lorene ignored his remark and motioned Splat into the cave. He was winded from the climb and shrugged his shoulders, as if resigned to his fate. They walked into the shadows, the smell of must and dampness filling Laureen's nose. Ace held the flashlight high and cut a swath of light into the darkness of the cave, finding some boulders in a corner.
Guess we can rest there,
he said. They sat on the damp earth, leaning against the rocks.
You know, Lorene, I could end up in jail for this.
I'm sorry, Ace. I never meant for this to happen.
Even as Lorene said that, she heard Carmela's voice in her head, saying that everything happened for a reason. It was all about learning lessons, and those we hadn't learned, we were doomed to repeat. Maybe she still had something to learn with old Ace here. Some unfinished business. What it was, though, was beyond her.
Well, it did happen. Now here I am with you and this character.
Splat grunted at Ace's description of him and spread out on the cold earth.
Since I ain't going anywhere, I'm gonna get some shut-eye.
Splat said.
Having a gun pointed at me and riding around in a hearse all over the countryside can make a body tired.
Like you don't know what pointing a gun at someone is like.
Lorene shot back.
Seems you're getting a taste of your own medicine, you flim-flam man. Ace, I told you he posed himself as a Bible salesman, didn't I? Can you reckon anything more blasphemous than that?
Splat ignored her, curling up into a ball on the ground, his back to them. Ace stretched his arms behind his head and let out another long sigh. He turned and looked hard at Lorene, making her blush.
Been a long time, ain't it, Lorene?
Reckon so.
Now tell me, what the hell is going on?
Lorene told him most of the story, about her passengers, and how they had come on board and how she had been stuck with them. She didn't want to steal Josh Montgomery's tour bus, she told Ace, but she had no other way to bust out of prison and get here before her mama died. She conveniently left out the part about her mama having some important information for her about her granddaddy and the possibility of money. Ace didn't need to know that. Splat's snoring kept interrupting her story, but that didn't seem to bother Ace, who kept nodding, then shaking his head like it was the darndest thing he had ever heard.
You always were something, Lorene. Never figured to see you again, since you were sent to prison and all.
Prison. She really had made a mess of her life. Here was old Ace, not the brightest stalk in the cornfield, and he was making a respectable living at his own store. Well, it had been his daddy Cloyd's store. At least, that's what she recalled as a child, when his pa would come in every morning for his biscuits and coffee, her mama waiting on him at the Donahoe. At least Ace had done good with his life. Why hadn't she done something decent and upright with hers? Nah, women didn't have a chance for anything in a hick town other than getting married or pregnant. She wanted to experience life, have adventures. She had, only they weren't all so good. Maybe looking someplace else for her life hadn't been the answer. Carmela always said, wherever you go, there you are. When Lorene asked her what that meant, Carmela got that look Lorene hated, like she had the damned wisdom of the ages, and said it just meant that we could change our circumstances, but we always took who we were with us.
Ain't particularly proud of being sent to jail, Ace. Had to survive.
Ace looked at her. From what she could see in the shadows, his expression was gentle, almost showing pity. She hated that. She'd rather have his disgust than have him feeling sorry for her.
It's a real shame, Lorene,
he finally said.
It had to be rough out there on your own. Did you ever marry?
Nah,
She said quickly.
been men. Too many of them. All jerks. Wanted only one thing, like Mama always said. As I recall, you were one of them.
Ace blushed.
Shoot fire, Lorene. We were young then. It was hormones and such, nothing more.
Right. Well then.
They both were quiet. Far off, the sirens wailed, slowly fading.
Looks like they might be headed toward town.
Ace said.
We best stay here for a bit until they leave. If they haul you in, you'll never get to see your mama.
Lorene sighed. So close and yet so far away. She needed to see her mama one last time, but there was nothing she could do right now but sit tight. An uncomfortable silence fell between them. Lorene finally spoke.
You ever marry?
Oh, yeah, but she left me. Felt there wasn't much of a life for her in red boiling springs and reckoned she was right. She was pretty smart. Remember Dee Dee? Dee Dee Crab?
Lorene couldn't believe it. Her best friend in high school, the only one who didn't think Lorene was white trash. So Dee Dee and Ace had ended up together. What a mismatch. No wonder the marriage hadn't lasted. Now it was her turn to show some pity.
Sorry for you, Ace.
No need. It was a long time ago. We married young and it's been over at least 10 years since I saw her last. I wanted the kid and she didn't. And she wanted to go and do some good in the world, she said, like working with poor folk in Africa or AIDS people, like that.
He paused and turned away from her, a hint of hurt showing on his face.
She ended up as a social worker over in Goodlettsville.
So maybe Dee Dee hadn't ended up saving orphans in Africa, but she was doing something positive, unlike herself. Life did take folks strange places indeed. For a moment, she wondered what her life would have been like if she and Ace had married, settled down, kids, the store. It would have been safe, but boring. What was it Tilly had said about her second marriage? As boring as a slice of white bread.
I thought for sure you'd end up with Rachel Goodlove.
Her? No, that was just a rebound kind of thing.
Rebound, as in, from her? Lorene switched the subject.
Still play guitar?
Don't have time with the feed and seed store. My pa died a few years back and I took over.
Sorry to hear that. I recall your pa being a good man.
Conversation soon ran dry, and before she knew it, Lorene had dozed off. She slowly woke, finding her head on Ace's shoulder. A thread of saliva attached to his shirt as she looked up at him, sleeping away. Suddenly, something hit her as odd, and she remembered Splat. She bolted upright and looked around the cave. He was gone, flat out gone. Lorene punched Ace, who was just stirring and still groggy, in the arm.
What the tarnation, Lorene?
Wake up, Ace. Wake up, damn it all. We gotta find Splat. He's escaped.
Chapter 53. The first thing Lorene did was reach for the gun. Gone. It must have fallen from her hand while she slept and Splat took it. But why hadn't he just killed them both? He could have. Maybe he wanted to save the murder part for Montgomery. Or maybe he was a wimp all along, just like she had suspected. Lorene began pacing, hands on hips, muttering to herself. She was trying to figure out what to do next. If she went after him, no telling what he might do. On the other hand, if she didn't and he was caught, he had nothing to lose. He would tell the police everything and turn her in. Ace stood up and faced her.
Lorene, why is that guy so important? Let him go. The police will find him and arrest him.
Don't you get it? He'll tell them about me stealing the bus. He'll tell them where I am and where I'm heading. Besides, he's my insurance.
What do you mean? What insurance?
I plan on doing some bartering. If the police catch me, I'm gonna spill the beans about Splat as a hired gun out to get Montgomery. But first, we gotta find Splat.
Ace shoved his hands into the pockets of his jeans, his head bent as if thinking.
This ain't to my liking, Lorene. It's getting dark, and there's no telling where he went. Besides, he could get dangerous.
I know he's got the gun, but I don't think he'll hurt us. I know him, Ace. Besides, he could have killed us while we was sleeping and he didn't. Come on, we gotta go find him.
You always did get me into trouble.
Me? Was the other way around, as I recollect.
All right, so we both were responsible. Either way, we're heading into some trouble with the law, Lorene, and I ain't liking it. I have a respectable life here.
His meaning was clear. Lorene grimaced and started pacing again. She really didn't have a right to get him involved in this.
Okay then. Do what you want. I'm heading after Splat.
Lorene marched out of the cave, cursing under her breath, mad at Ace for bailing on her, even though he didn't owe her a thing.
Wait!
She heard Ace call from behind her.
I can't let you do this alone. I know I'll regret this to the day I die, which might be today. But I'll go with you. I have a hunting rifle in the back of the truck. I'll go get it, and we'll be off.
Lorene nodded matter-of-factly.
Appreciate it, Ace. Let's go then.
Chapter 54. The phone rang and rang without answer, putting Emily into a frenzy. Why wasn't Doc Hodges answering his phone? He was always around, or at least that uppity nurse assistant of his always was. Nobody was picking up. Emily stood over Gertrude, receiver to her ear, waiting ring after ring, while Gertrude turned whiter. She had to reach somebody. Should she call Officer Purdy over in Lafayette? Maybe he could track down the doctor. Emily hung up the phone and bent close to Gertrude's mouth. No breathing as far as she could tell. She peered at her again through her glasses. White complexion, eyes shut. Surely Gert had gone home to her maker. She was about to call Purdy when a noise, a small groan, startled her. Emily dropped the phone in surprise. Gertrude had made that noise. She spoke some words.
I see him.
What? Gert, you say something?
I see him.
She had said it so softly, Emily almost missed it.
I thought you had gone, Gert.
Emily said, leaning in close to hear better.
Who did you see? Our Lord and Savior?
Gert was quiet for a few seconds, her eyes still closed.
I see him.
She said again.
Waiting for me on other side. Have to wait for Lorene. Almost here. Told me to hold on.
Emily clasped Gertrude's hand, which was ice cold.
You just hang on, Gert. I'm gonna see if I can get Doc Hodges over here. Hang on.
She was about to phone the doctor again when she heard a commotion outside. The sound of tires squealing in the driveway, the crunch of gravel, car doors slamming, loud voices. Emily looked out the bedroom window and gasped. Outside was a police car, its blue lights blinking, and behind it a hearse. A police officer got out of the car, and then two women from the hearse. What was going on? Why were the police here? And the hearse? How did they know to come and get Gertrude? Chapter 55. The sky was stained purples and pinks, the sun almost setting. The air was turning chilly for a summer night, the scent of moss and honeysuckle in the air. Lorene followed Ace, who had the rifle tucked under his arm. Twigs and branches snapped under their feet as they trekked through the woods.
I reckon he's probably lost and don't know which way town is. Good thing I hunt in these woods. Know them like the back of my hand. It'll be easy to track him.
Ace said. Lorene was grateful. The sooner they caught Splat, and the sooner they got to her mama's house, the better. She wondered if her mama was even still alive. What was she going to say when she saw her again?
Sorry, Mama, for causing you so much heartache and making you not proud of me.
She knew she had been a sorrow to her mama, who had warned her about men and the likes of Ace here. What if the police caught her first? Then she might never get to see her mama, nor would she ever discover what she had to tell her about her Grandpa Mac.
Mighty quiet, Lorene. Unusual for you.
Lorene shot him a dirty look, one he didn't see since she was behind him.
Just thinking. Want to get home to my mama and catch this Splat feller. He's bad news.
You say he plans on killing Montgomery?
Yep. Didn't say how or when, but know that's what he intends to do. Gonna get paid big bucks for it.
Ace stopped suddenly and leaned down, shining the flashlight on a bush.
Looks like he came this way. It's bent, like someone was in a hurry.
They continued on for a few minutes in silence.
So how is my mama? You said you heard she was in a bad way.
Ace hesitated, waiting for Lorene to catch up. Darn that prison food. She had put on a few extra pounds around the middle and was a little breathless. When she was beside him, she stepped in pace with him.
You know how town is. Everybody knows everybody's business. Folks who come into my store say your mama's been ill for some time, that Emily's been taking care of her.
Emily Watkins. I'd forgotten all about her. She's still living?
Can't kill them old folk. They just get meaner and meaner.
Ace said, grinning.
Must say she's a good soul for taking care of your mama. Last I heard yesterday, she was getting worse, and Emily was checking up on her more often.
Lorene felt sick inside. She needed to get home, and fast.
Sorry, Lorene. Didn't mean to make you feel badly. Just the truth of it.
I know. Can we move a little faster?
Ace nodded. They picked up the pace until he straightened his arm in front of her, stopping her.
Shh! Ahead!
He whispered. A short distance before them, in a clearing, Splat sat on the ground. The moon was shining on him like a spotlight. Lorene didn't know why he had stopped. Maybe he was lost and wasn't sure which way to go next. Didn't matter. He was trapped now.
Let me handle this,
Ace said softly, turning off the flashlight.
Not on your life, buddy. We're going together.
No, I got an idea,
he said.
I need you to head around that way behind Splat. He's got that gun, so I need you to catch him by surprise if needed.
Lorene nodded. It hadn't dawned on her that this could get dangerous, even deadly. Sure, she had been involved in lots of stealing, but blood wasn't something she wanted on her hands, especially Ace's.
Now get on around that way,
Ace said in hushed tones.
Be quiet. Don't do anything unless I signal you. And don't do anything stupid.
Too late, Lorene thought. Everything she had done since stealing the bus had been stupid. Why should it change now? Chapter 56. The woods were still, except for an occasional warm breeze rustling the tree branches overhead, and the chirp of the evening critters. Lorene tiptoed through the brush, careful not to make any noise, and reached the other side of the clearing. Hidden behind a tree, she could see Splat, but not Ace. He was there, no doubt, and Lorene wouldn't make a move until she saw him first. Just in case, she picked up a nearby tree limb. It'd make a good enough weapon if need be. Within seconds, Ace came out of the woods and moved into the clearing, his rifle pointed at Splat. Everything happened so fast that Lorene didn't remember it until later. Splat turned around, saw Ace, and fired his gun. Ace dropped his rifle and fell to the ground, clutching his shoulder. Blood was gushing everywhere. Lorene rushed from the woods, cursing and screaming, waving the tree limb at Splat. Startling him, she wielded the branch at his gun, knocking it to the ground. She walloped Splat on the head, grabbed the gun, and ran to Ace. She couldn't tell how bad it was, but she knew he needed a doctor, and fast.
How are you?
Been better,
he said through clenched teeth.
We gotta get you some help. Gotta stop the bleeding, though. Take off your t-shirt so I can see what damage he done.
She looked at the wound on his shoulder, couldn't resist sneaking a peek at his muscular chest, and began ripping the shirt into strips.
Looks like he nicked you, but I'm not taking chances. I'm gonna tie one of these up around your arm.
Lorene turned to see Splat sitting there, dazed.
And don't you even think of running, you no-good so-and-so, or I swear I'll do you bodily harm. I have the gun, and if you aim to take off, I'll be a-hunting you like the no-good weasel you are.
After she bandaged Ace, she took the rest of the strips and walked over to Splat. She ordered him to sit at the base of a small tree and wrapped his hands behind him. Then she bound him.
Doesn't have to be so tight, does it? It hurts.
Yeah, like you care about hurting others. Look what you done over there.
Lorene had never been so mad in her life. She had just found Ace and wasn't going to lose him thanks to this joker.
Come on, Ace. We gotta get back to the truck and get you into town. Is Doc Hodges still around?
Hey,
Splat interrupted.
you ain't leaving me here in these woods at night, are you? There's all kinds of wild animals come out.
Lorene shot him an evil look.
Your misfortune.
Ace grunted as he leaned on Lorene, answering her question.
Yeah, Doc Hodges is still around. He's your mama's doctor. But if you take me in, you'll be arrested.
Lorene nodded. It was true. But she wasn't going to let Ace die out here in the middle of nowhere.
That's the way it is.
Reckon so.
Ace said through a clamped jaw as they approached the pickup truck.
Sorry to get you involved.
He looked at her in an odd way and didn't say anything. She lowered her head, ashamed that once again she had been the cause of not only something stupid, but something deadly. They found the truck and sped off down the road toward Red Boiling Springs. We hope you enjoyed part 11 of AIRT's production of Lorene on the Lam by Marie Elena Zuniga. For more stories, visit veronicapresents.com. You can help us grow our audience by rating and reviewing this show. Lorene on the Lam is available in print and ebook editions on Amazon.com. Thanks for listening.